T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff. Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lugs.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, this is sports and other stuff. So here's what you'll learn today. The NCAA Final Fours are set for both men and women. The Dolphins pull a blockbuster trade and then some. A Bobby Knight protege is now IU's head coach. And guys, what's on True TV tonight? All right, we'll forget that part. Let's get started. Up first, men's Final Four, Houston, Baylor, UCLA, Gonzaga. Women's Final Four, South Carolina, Stanford, Arizona, Connecticut. Let's get it going, guys. Who do you like in the Final Fours?
I was just going to say a guy in Houston, apparently a furniture dealer, has bet $1 million on the Cougars. So for his sake, I hope they come through. But Gonzaga is really the cream of the crop.
This is their year, is what you're saying. Finally, Mark Few and the Zags, the Bulldogs, will make it.
Well, I had not seen them at all, and I saw them play the other night, and it was, I mean, they were head and shoulders better than anybody else that I've seen this year. Those guys can shoot lights out. They play defense. It's pretty amazing, actually.
You think UCLA has no shot whatsoever?
Well, I think, one game, you can, a lot of things can happen. I just think that UCLA or whomever would be in the final with them would just have to play perfect basketball.
Go ahead, T-Dog. You go.
I would say for UCLA to have a shot to beat Gonzaga the way Gonzaga has looked, particularly – again, it's not that I didn't believe in them, but obviously since they were a higher seed, they didn't really play like a team that was red hot that you kind of really believed in until USC. But because USC just smoked Kansas and smoked Oregon, and the way they decimated the USC Gonzaga is like, okay, yeah, they're legit. Drew Tim, dominates down low. I just worry about him becoming too enwrapped with his facial hair, his handlebar mustache. I don't know if you saw it. He plays him. Yep. He seems to be very stuck to putting his hands on it. And Corey Kispert supplying the long range, so they have that inside-out game. I think the only way UCLA wins is the UK transfer, Johnny Juzang. He scored 28 points versus Michigan. He was the main reason they won. He's going to have to score 40, I think, for them to beat Gonzaga.
I was just going to say it's just going to be interesting, just the power basketball versus finesse. So anyway, I'm liking it. I will say the NCAA forcing Oregon State to get on a plane at 1:30 in the morning was kind of a bad look for them, but sort of par for the course for those boys.
Now, what about the UCLA head coach, Mick Cronin? We know who he used to work for, Rick Pitino. So does that give you any feeling that Mick can pull it off and pull the upset? UCLA is an 11 seed, that's a double-digit seed right there.
I don't know if Ricky P is helping him out or not, but Cronin is a good coach.
Yep, he's everywhere he's gone.
I just don't think in this case he quite has the horses to run with Gonzaga. So I don't. I mean, like I say, they've got a chance, but I don't think it's much of a chance.
And what about the other side of the bracket? Houston, Baylor. You got another 1 seed. You got a 2 seed. And by the way, T-Dog, isn't that Calvin Sampson, your head coach of your Houston Cougars?
Yeah.
That kind of hits the IU fan a little wrong, didn't it?
It does. I mean, he already played a tournament game in Assembly Hall this
Ooh,
year.
that's right.
So,
That's right.
wow. But and I think on that court he got a victory that he actually surpassed Wooden in terms of W's in NCAA. So, but anyway, for them to have a shot against Baylor, they're going to have to hit as many threes as they did against Oregon State. They hit 11 threes. Actually, over half their shots were three-point attempts. They shot 62 shots, and 32 of them were three-pointers. So they're going to have to doubt from distance. Baylor's the only team I think that can beat Gonzaga, and I really do like Baylor. Davion Mitchell, he's just one of those guys. It seems like when they need to close out a game, his burst to the rim, just how he can get to the cylinder. He had 12 points and 6 assists against Arkansas. Teague was their leading scorer with 22. But I think the underrated thing about Baylor is their bench. Flager and Mayer, they both combined, they had 7 of the 9 steals for Baylor against Arkansas, and the bench scored 25 points in that game. So, I mean, they're big contributors. And Mayer, again, he's kind of like Drew Timm. He looks like a throwback. I mean, he's got a big mullet, and he's got a Clarksville mustache. So
it says Mylan on the front of his shirt. Doesn't it? Mylan from the 50s. The key's about that wide in the lane. Yeah. So we all agree it's going to be a 1-1 seed, Baylor Gonzaga final. What do you think?
I'd have to say I would hold off on the Baylor thing. Baylor, I don't know. They don't feel as solid to me as they should for the players they have. They should win the game, but I think they're a little iffy. I feel like Gonzaga's solid in their game with UCLA. But it'll be good basketball. I mean, when you get down to these guys have been through the wars. And the good thing is, by and large, the refs aren't calling ticky-tacky stuff. I mean, they're allowing guys to really hammer each other. But it's so far from what I've seen, it's been balanced. They haven't missed a lot of calls in the parameters whatever parameters they're using. I guess drawing blood on a couple of occasions.
It did happen.
It's not reaching Kumite blood sport level, but that's good.
Basket brawl.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the big Final Four Saturday at 5:14 is game 1. Houston Baylor, 8:34 p.m. Saturday. UCLA Gonzaga. Jim Nance, hello friends, and Bill Raftery on the call on the big CBS television network. All right, women's Final Four, we lost both our local teams that were digging hard. U of L and IU both bowed out. So you've got South Carolina, that is. We better make sure I get that right. Stanford and Arizona versus Connecticut. You got, 3 1 seeds and a 3 seed. That's, I guess, the way it's supposed to be designed, huh?
Yeah, I'd have to say I only saw the Kentucky team and the U of L team, so I'm not familiar with the Connecticut and South Carolina. But it was tough to watch the ladies, the lady cards especially. They had one half that worked and the other half just did not. So hopefully they'll be back. I'm sure they will. I mean, they've got some amazing players.
Yep, only one senior on that squad.
So they'll be back. It's just, sort of, you feel for them because they were hustling and doing everything you should do. It just didn't work. So.
Yep, Dana Evans, 2-time ACC Player of the Year, is a senior, and she'll be going on to better things. T-Dog, any thoughts on the women's Final Four?
Yeah, both local teams that were in the Elite Eight, it was kind of fascinating that both of them were very competitive till the fourth quarter.
Right.
Where both of them, IU was outscored 20-9 in the fourth, and U of L was outscored 30-13 in the fourth. And again, with U of L, it really came down to, it's bizarre to say this, again, it's kind of going back to Baylor team came down to Stanford's Ashton Pretchell off the bench. She went 6 for 6, 3 for 3 from 3-pointers, scored 16 points in 16 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, that's it's not a lot you could do in that. And similar IU, she wasn't just a half. She dominated the whole game. In the IU game, Arizona's Ari McDonald scored 33 points, was 5 of 6 from 3-pointer, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. So she pretty much won the game by herself. So,
yep, I'm going for a Stanford-Connecticut final myself, and I'm picking Stanford to take it all home. What do you guys say?
Hey, the Cardinal, they look good. Connecticut, I haven't seen, so I can't judge on that. But I was just going to say, I was looking at some sports stuff, some headlines, whatever. They were talking about the players being able to monetize their image. And right now, I wish I'd written it down, but the player, she's a freshman, and she has 600,000 followers already on her accounts across various platforms. And I didn't realize this, but the value of that is $900,000 if she wants to capitalize. So that sort of put it in perspective for me as far as a player being able to monetize their image. I mean, she outranks all the men and all the other women.
Is she a friend of the show? Can we get her on?
She's
know her
freshman,
name?
So I can't remember.
Can you narrow it down just a little bit?
No, I can't. It's one of those things where, I'm reading while I'm listening to something else and blah, blah, blah. I can't, walk and chew gum at the same time.
Okay, that's good. T-Dog, any thoughts on that final coming up?
I'm going to go with South Carolina.
Whoa, he's going with the... All right. All right, let's switch over to the men's game. Let's talk about Mike Woodson. 6-year deal, NBA coach for 25 years, head coach Atlanta Hawks for 6, New York Knicks for 3. He played for Robert Montgomery Knight from 1976 to 1980. He ranks 5th all-time scoring as a Hoosier. And get this, he attended Knight's Assembly Hall return last year. And first-year IUAD says Woodson is his guy. What do you say about Mike Woodson, age 63, the new coach of your Indiana Hoosiers?
Not feeling it.
Not feeling it.
Not a big fan of it. I'll just try to do this quickly so that Lugs can get to it. First off, it feels like whoever bought out the rest of Archie's had the stipulations. I buy this out. I want a guy who brings back the old way, the Bobby Knight way type of thing. And I will say this: any hire that's based on nostalgia and not based on logic and merit is, for the most part, doomed to fail, I think. Now, I'm not saying that Mike Woodson can't coach on the basketball court. I'm not saying that. Obviously, he has experience doing that. I know his record in the NBA isn't great, but that can depend based on the talent your front office gives you. So I'm not going to completely kill him on having a subpar record in NBA. That being said, he has no experience recruiting. So obviously whoever's assistants are very important. And if they end up being good, they'll likely get a job somewhere else. So that's not being in a great spot. And it just feels like you look at a lot of the great coaches in this area. None of them were tied to the school beforehand. I mean, Denny Crum came from UCLA,
right?
Pitino came from the Northeast. He coached at Providence.
Yep.
He coached in the NBA for a while, and then he came to UK. Then he went to the Celtics. Then he came to U of L.
Yep.
Knight played at Ohio State.
Calipari.
Knight played at Ohio State, and then he coached at West Point, then came to IU. And Calipari mainly cut his teeth at UMass,
right?
Then went to the Nets, and then went to Memphis, and then came to UK.